can really go down a deep rabbit hole if you read about ice ages. I think there was probably something significant that happened at the in the last ice age.
Even though we humans have combed far and wide through the world as we know it, it's clear that we have not even scratched the surface of all there is in the world. Adventurous billionaire Elon Musk proves this with his new bizarre discovery in the continent of Antarctica. He discovered a huge object that spans for miles, and this has raised a lot of concern from scientists and even explorers. Many have suspicions and theories of what this extremely large object might be, with some already going down to the frozen continent to investigate it themselves. What do you think it is, and where did it come from? Join us as we investigate this mysterious object. The mysteries of the icy continent. When people hear the name Elon Musk, their minds go to his exploration and hopeful colonization of space. But that's not all Musk has been obsessed with. As of late, the phenomenal billionaire has turned his sights to the frozen lands of Antarctica, where he and his team have discovered something quite interesting. You wouldn't believe it. It is an object so long that it spans for miles and miles, looking like it has no end. Now, with such a discovery, of course the attention of many scientists, explorers, and even countries at large was gained. There have been many speculations as to what the object was. At first, Musk's team was going to pass it off as a very large iceberg because it was covered in ice. But after watching this object closely and seeing the ice particles stuck on it fall off of it, it was clear that it wasn't in any way just an iceberg. That wasn't all that made the observers realize that this wasn't an iceberg, though. The gigantic object also had skid marks on it, which begged the question of where they came from. And to prove that it truly was not an iceberg, scientists took note of the object's black shade exterior, which is unlike the transparency of an iceberg. As though that wasn't enough to raise suspicions and questions about the objects, they found grooves on the surface. Long, deep grooves, which would make one ask, where did this huge object get such cuts from? Could it be cuts from large animals, like sharks? But why would a shark even need to attack a dormant large object? Could it be from collision against other icebergs? Well then, the objects should have gotten cracks by now, hinting at breaking, but it clearly is strong. Then there's the elephant in the room, the suspicion that many scientists and people in general who have heard about it and even seen it have. Could it be some top-secret military craft? You're probably thinking that that's absurd, but is it? Is it really impossible that the government of a country would conduct classified experiments in isolated places, mostly undisclosed? It sure doesn't sound as absurd as a country spending well over $1 billion and building a town from scratch in the middle of nowhere to build the world's first atomic bomb. You're getting a hang of it, aren't you? Now, it's no news that countries of the world, mostly world powers, conduct experiments in secluded places for the sake of secrecy or to prevent harming civilians. In fact, it is very common, from missile and bomb testing in deserts and torpedo testing in far underwater regions, and that's just mentioning the ones we know of. The point is, this happens a lot, and the continent of Antarctica is no stranger to this. Years ago, Antarctica was seen as a vast piece of land up for grabs, and every world power wanted to take advantage of its inhabited nature to run military tests and conduct classified experiments they didn't want the world to be in the loop about. Which was why the Antarctic Treaty was created. It was a unique international agreement that was signed in 1959 and began being enforced in 1961. The treaty was designed to preserve Antarctica for peaceful purposes and scientific exploration alone. And here's a mind-blowing fact. This made Antarctica the only continent in the entire world where military activities are completely banned. This treaty established Antarctica as a demilitarized zone which meant no nuclear testing and military presence. Although there are some that believe that that has not stopped countries from conducting military activities there. And to top it all off, it was declared a place for international cooperation in science. Another key factor that was as paramount as the no military presence rule was that this treaty suspended all territorial claims, meaning no country can own Antarctica, even though several nations have staked claims to different parts of the continent. The 65-year-old treaty encourages collaboration among countries and allows scientists from around the world to conduct research without interference. As of today, more than 57 countries have signed the treaty in a committed attempt to keep Antarctica free from exploitation and focused on research that will benefit all of humanity. Now you're probably thinking, what makes Antarctica so special that a treaty had to be signed to prevent nations fighting over it and pillaging it of its resources and knowledge? Well, a little lesson into the continent might suffice. Antarctica is a land of extremes. The continent has long been a site of interest for explorers, scientists, and dreamers alike. It's not just its size or cold that makes it unique, but the fact that beneath the vast, icy surface, there are secrets waiting to be uncovered. One of the most intriguing aspects of Antarctica hides deep underneath its icy landscape. You would never guess it. Hidden ecosystems that have survived in isolation for millions of years. The thing that makes these ecosystems so remarkable is their location and the conditions in which they have survived and thrived for so long. Scientists have discovered entire microbial communities living in subglacial lakes, such as Lake Vostok, which, by the way, is the 8th largest lake in the world, buried miles beneath the ice. These lakes are sealed off from the rest of the world by thick layers of ice, making them some of the most isolated environments on Earth. Regardless of the complete darkness and the freezing temperatures and the lack of direct access to the atmosphere, life has found a way to exist here. The organisms that live in these lakes have adapted to extreme conditions so much that they rely on chemical energy from the minerals in the water rather than sunlight to survive. This discovery challenges our understanding of where and how life can exist, expanding the boundaries of habitability. And that's just one amongst a number of things that make Antarctica stand out. Another exciting thing about these subglacial ecosystems is what they might tell us about life outside Earth. If life can survive in such harsh and isolated conditions beneath Antarctica, then maybe it is possible that similar life forms might be able to exist on other icy worlds in our solar system. Take examples like Jupiter's moon, Europa, or Saturn's moon, Enceladus. These moons have subsurface oceans, and studying the ecosystems beneath Antarctica's ice can give scientists clues about what to look for when searching for life elsewhere. Beyond the hidden ecosystems, Antarctica's uniqueness also comes from its role as a time capsule. The ice itself contains layers of history, trapping tiny bubbles of ancient air that provide a record of Earth's climate going back hundreds of thousands of years. Digging deeper into the ice sheets. One of the most remarkable revelations is the discovery of a series of mountain ranges, such as the mysterious Gamburtsev Mountains, which lie buried under miles of ice. These mountains, as large and jagged as the Alps, have been hidden from sight for millions of years, leaving scientists puzzled. The existence of such towering peaks under a solid sheet of ice seems like something from another world or realm, and they are believed to have formed about 1 billion years ago. That's just insane, isn't it? Well, that's not all. Keep watching. These mountains are far older than the surface of the ice itself. And as the ice shifted over millennia, it covered the mountains, preserving them, and they continue to exist in isolation under their frozen cover. The peaks and valleys of these mountains, untouched by sunlight or wind, make them not just a geological wonder, but a time capsule of Earth's deep history. No one expected mountains like these to exist in the heart of Antarctica, and yet there they stand, a frozen monument to Earth's ancient past. To add to that list of astonishing things in Antarctica, the continent, which is often thought of as an endless site of ice and water, actually contains one of the driest places on Earth. In fact, certain areas of Antarctica, known as the McMurdo Dry Valleys, receive almost no precipitation at all, making it one of the driest places on the planet. These valleys are essentially polar deserts, where the combination of low humidity and katabatic winds, dry winds that sweep down from the mountains, ensures that little snow or ice can accumulate. It's a stark contrast to the image most have of Antarctica as a place buried under perpetual snowdrifts. The dry valleys, with their cracked, rocky ground and dusty appearance, resemble the surface of Mars more than any other place on Earth. Scientists study this region intensely, as the conditions are so extreme that they mimic what we might find on other planets, making it a perfect testing ground for exploring life's possibilities on other worlds. Another unexpected feature of this frozen continent is its long, winding rivers, particularly one known as the Onyx River. It may seem strange to think of rivers in a place dominated by ice. The Onyx River flows across the dry valleys during the brief Antarctic summer. This river is the longest in Antarctica, running for about 20 miles, but only during the short window when the temperature is warm enough for ice and snow to melt. Even in such a harsh environment, the river supports life, mostly in the form of hardy microorganisms that survive in the frigid, nutrient-poor waters. It's a curious reminder that even in the harshest climates, life finds a way to adapt and persist. The flow of the Onyx River is also very unique in the sense that it runs inland, not towards the sea. Yeah, it seems counterintuitive, but it's the truth, and it reflects the unusual topography and weather patterns of the continent. However, what captures the world's attention more recently is the looming threat of the Doomsday Glacier, formerly known as the Thwaites Glacier. This massive glacier, about the size of Florida, is not just another ice sheet. No, it's a key player in global sea levels. Thwaites is one of glaciers in Antarctica that's melting the fastest, and scientists fear that its collapse could trigger a chain reaction, causing nearby glaciers to also destabilize. If the entire glacier were to melt, it could lead to a dramatic rise in global sea levels, potentially flooding coastal cities around the world. Do you think Musk's discovery will hold as much significance to the world as the Doomsday Glacier? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.